Yeah, for those of you who are just joining us, we just spent the last 30 minutes of some great content that I
So
forgot to
much.
hit record.
Oh,
Love it, right? Uh,
every time.
too funny. Every time. It's like, when something happens and you're like, man, I should have been like, I should have hit record and captured that video because it was either hilarious or something happened and then it's lost forever, So,
The worst.
Well, we were just
No,
talking
I think what
about Bitcoin, so.
I think what you're saying is right on, because so often we only look at what's in front of us or like national news, and you don't realize like what is happening on the ground in Zimbabwe, in Venezuela, in Syria, in Lebanon, and it's those things like alternative money, uh, and it's kind of this tsunami of, hey, we got to get our money out of this whole government fiat situation, and what is our alternative? And the fact that there is a alternative is actually kind of a miracle, because before the last 10 years there wasn't, and even before the last couple of years, it was like, how would you even get into that? What do you do? It's like in 2017 I was super interested in Bitcoin and I wanted to buy it, but I was in India and I had no way to buy it because I couldn't do it through the India system, and I couldn't do it through the American system because I was in India, and I was just like, oh well, whatever. But like, things improved and there's different exchanges and other ways that you could do it. And so even like for a Venezuela or for El Salvador that has made it legal tender, like we are just within a few years of this actually being feasible and being able to be used by common people to buy coffee at McDonald's. What country was that you saw?
Yeah, so I
Ghana?
saw a video. No, I saw a video of someone, I believe it was in El Salvador, went to a McDonald's and they made a purchase with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then I saw a video, I believe it was in Ghana, where someone, it wasn't even at like McDonald's, like an established international, right, a business that where you would expect that. It was like a roadside shack, and somebody
Yeah.
was using crypto to buy food, and which
Yeah.
blew me away. Now you just mentioned how in 2017 you were in India and you were like trying to figure out how to invest and how to jump into that market. I was just talking to a guy the other day here in India. I'm sitting in Greater Noida. I go to one of the markets and I know those guys over there, and I said, hey, you know what? You should follow. You should check out our YouTube channel. And he went and took a look at it. He goes, oh, crypto. He goes, oh, I'm into crypto. And I was like, you are. And he told me how in 2018 he went and he bought Bitcoin at 62,000 rupees, which is probably like $700,
I think at the
$750.
time, because I remember, yeah, it was probably like $1,000 US.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he bought at that time, and then he told me like it quickly went up and he sold it for like 10 lakhs. 10 lakhs is something like $12,000,
Mm.
right? Is what he sold it at. And now he said he's kicking himself. Like he should have just held it, right?
Yeah.
However, but he was doing this in 2018 in India, right? So
Right.
therefore, there are people who are very savvy. There are people who are
Yeah.
actively involved, and we're seeing that not only from an investment perspective, people have jumped on it a few years ago. In 2018 was 5 years ago. But when we see videos of actual daily, like people are using it for transactions, for purchasing things that we would just think it like, hey, I'd like to buy a Big Mac, right, and fries and
Yeah.
supersize it. How
Yeah.
much is it? Okay, let me just use my Bitcoin, right,
Yeah.
to make the purchase. That's happening in
Yeah.
countries all around the world. And so therefore for us to just disqualify it and say, nah, you know what, this is kind of a passing fad, it's
Yeah.
difficult to say that today.
No, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't see the wave that is coming, you're just not paying attention, or you're in a place where it doesn't matter. Like predominantly, I would say your first world countries that, especially if you're American and the reserve currency is the US dollar, you're like, I'll just Apple Pay somebody, I'll just Venmo you. And that isn't an option in Ghana or the tens of even 100 countries. It's like, actually, we have paper money and that's it. And it's going down in purchasing power. So what do I do?
Now I
Yeah.
gotta also tell you, I saw the other day this 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 post on Instagram for
Yeah.
property in Dubai,
Hmm.
and they were like, this is how much it would cost, and you can pay, through a check or whatever, you could pay. And the last thing they said was, and you could pay with Bitcoin, you could pay with crypto. And I
Yeah.
was like, come on, and this is Dubai. This is now we're not
Yeah.
talking about El Salvador. We're not talking
Right.
about countries that we say, hey, they have they arrived there because of some sort of failure in their economy.
Right.
Dubai is not a failed economy, but they're saying, hey, we're jumping on board with this, and we can make real, you know, transactional opportunities available for people if they want to buy land, they want to buy,
Yeah.
apartments, they want to buy houses, they want to buy. And so again, I think that we just need to realize that that is happening, and we can't
Yeah.
just look the other way.
I live an hour north of Dubai, and every time on the interstate I'm driving to Dubai, I drive by a place called Bitcoin Motors, and they've got all their cars out, and there's like a bunch of car dealers out there. But one is called Bitcoin Motors with a big Bitcoin sign, and it's like, yeah, they only accept Bitcoin. And so again, if
That's
you don't
amazing.
realize this is happening, it is. And it will be obvious to everyone a few years from now, but
Right.
like it's happening now. And so I think that's a really good point. It's like, yes, third world countries whose money is going down the drain is a big deal, but also smarter people than you are dealing in this and using it for daily slash big purchases. And
Right.
how can you be a part of it? I think it's worth researching.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Next time you drive by that place, you got to take a picture of it, and
Okay.
or either maybe you'll make a purchase. By like
I'm going to make a
Lamborghini.
video because it's a good idea just to highlight, hey, this is happening. This is what we do. They would be great to have on the show. I think it'd be really fun.
I think that would be great.
Don't
Also,
you think? Oh, man.
I think so. Yeah, definitely worth doing. All right. Hey, listen. So, I think we kind of have a plan for the
Yeah,
next
I
few weeks, if you're good with it, and then
think it's great.
yeah, and then again, I think you already have laid out for the next couple of weeks. So the next
Yeah,
one at some point we'll do Bitcoin,
yeah,
and then you also said and then altcoins. I think to do a deeper dive
yeah.
into that as well,
It's great.
and then I think the eventual goal for all of this, as we keep building on episode by episode, is to help people, and you're helping me.
Mm.
Definitely, I'm getting more and more, I think, comfortable
Yeah, I
um,
think so
with
too.
uh, with crypto, but you're walking me to a place where soon, hopefully, we'll be getting to the looking at the exchanges, looking at Coinbase. I'll be looking at what do I have, where am I at,
Yeah,
and then what are those next steps once you have either purchased, are thinking of purchasing, have purchased. What does the future look like? How to go through the actual steps of conducting those transactions,
hmm,
and just walking. You're walking me through that, and hopefully that'll help others who are watching so that they get
yeah.
comfortable in it as well.
I
So
think like we talked about from the beginning, like taking somebody from beginner to intermediate to, like you're saying, like I'm feeling comfortable with this, I understand what we're talking about, to like actually implementing, all right, here's a purchase on exchange, and it's probably not great in the light of history over the last couple of years to keep money on an exchange. So should I put it in my hot wallet? Should I purchase a cold wallet? How do I move that? And if we even did that like live on a Zoom and you clicked it and then we're like, we wait for it to show up and it does, or it never does because you messed up one of your 300 letters in your chain.
Yeah, right.
That's why it's like, even it's always good to send a test transaction. If it's anything
Right.
more than like $20, I always send the first transaction just to make sure it works and it shows up. And when it does, then I send the rest. And so even like just seeing that, I think could be really fun and people could experience that with us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully all the money that we move around shows up where it's supposed to show up. And then someday when I'm in El Salvador, I'll be able to buy a Big Mac, large fries, supersize it.
Exactly.
That's why with my Bitcoin.
I'll tell you what,
man.
like, and then into November, we can start hitting those basic nuts and bolts of kind of some how-tos and actually do it. And then it'll be, I think we're set.
Sounds good. I think time-wise, we're doing well. I think it's going to set us up nicely for the coming year. So,
yeah, awesome, man. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Yeah.
I'm a little bit nervous. I will say that I'm a bit nervous because I've been thinking through this because we went through a whole bunch of different terms. There are a number of things that are going on pretty hot and heavy right now that we didn't cover, which is okay, like ETF. I also was thinking about, man, if I get a chance on the big stage to ask a question, what would that question be, right? I mean, the most obvious one is, what would you tell the average guy? Like, I'm the average guy. What would all of you experts here, right, tell me that what should I know?
Sure.
Right, so
seems high to me, but let's roll with it.
And my question is, how do you go? How do we see greater adoption? To see it really grow and be successful, you need to be more than 5%, right? You need to actually reach, like, I need to be reached. All right, so now we spent some time on ETFs, we spent some time on a whole bunch of things. One thing that we haven't talked about a lot are exchanges. So now there are two events that are happening. What just happened? I just saw balloons.
Happy birthday, Leni!
How did that happen? I don't know how I did that. Hey everybody, you are listening to HardKnock Crypto. A new episode drops every Friday.